Welcome back to MSG AM. Monica and Kaz back with you on this magnificent Monday as we look forward to Christmas at the end of the week. Okay, so the Jets ended a 13-game losing streak, which was the longest in franchise history. And now we bring in former Jet, who is probably a little torn on his reaction, Nick Mangold. But before we chat with Nick, let's read Nick's emotions that he was so gracious to share with the world on Twitter.
Pull it up. Pull up the tweet. Yeah. As a former Jets player and a current Jets fan, I'm confused and torn. Oh, well, print the shirts. Victory Monday. Nick Mangold, we catch you here every Monday. It's the first Victory Monday of the year, but is it really? What are your thoughts on the Jets' upset of the Los Angeles Rams?
It's funny because I think I still have that same feeling that I had last night. I don't know. I'm torn. Really, as a player, like I know those guys are fighting to win, and they're doing it. And so they get the win, and I'm happy for every guy in that locker room. I'm happy for the coaches because losing stinks, and you hate losing. So I'm happy for them, but for the fans. I'm sad for them because everyone kind of put all their eggs in the basket of Trevor Lawrence in the first pick. Maybe the Jags win, next week, and it's all a moot point. But right now, yeah, I'm happy for the guys in the locker room, and I think that's a big thing. I think that's a good win for them, and it kind of gives you a test, like. Was LA sleeping on the Jets, or is this the team that we should have seen all year long, and maybe we'd be having different conversations as we're wrapping up the season?
See, I knew that was going to happen. I wasn't expecting it from you, Nick, but I knew somebody was going to say, where was this all year long? And I mean, obviously you had a great career in the league. I just think weird things happen down the stretch. Folks are tired, whether it's physically or, to your point, mentally, not really locked in. I don't want to get too excited about this, but if anybody showed well, it would be Sam Darnold. So does this potentially change anything for him?
Yeah, he played well yesterday. He was getting the ball out quick. He was making good reads, good throws. I don't know. And I think that's where the tough part of what Joe Douglas has to do this offseason is really evaluate where he is with Sam. Is it the pieces around him or is it Sam? And I don't think anyone's going to know that until, Joe Douglas does his research, does his deep dive into it, and says, hey, we believe in Sam and we're going to go forward. We're going to put pieces around him. Or it's time to move on and find somebody else. He had a strong performance yesterday, and if he continues to stack those, that question is going to get even harder as we go into this offseason.
All right, let's keep the positive mojo going, all right? I know a lot of people are upset that the Jets won a game, but there have been some bright spots on both sides of the ball. BECTON on the offensive line, Quentin Williams on the defensive line, all right? No matter who you take in the first round of the NFL draft, you're established on those two sides of the ball. So tell me about those two bright spots for the New York Jets.
Yeah, well, I've been high on Mekhi all year long. I'm excited for the big fella, to get his taste of a first NFL win. Quentin Williams, it was kind of that whole defensive line yesterday. I know he was a bright spot on it, but, it's almost like someone woke him up, which is odd after, a 6-hour flight out to L.A. to play a game. But they were flying around and getting after people. And, it's one of those things. Where was this all season? It doesn't take anything to fly around and hit people, and other than just the sheer want to, and they finally wanted to, and they did it, and it was good to see. It was fun to watch.
I know that you're asking that question, Nick, as a rhetorical in terms of where was this all season, but as the most astute football mind of the three of us, where was this all season? Do you have an answer for that at all?
I don't, and that's where I think you run into, was this always kind of sitting there, just underneath the surface all season and finally bubbled to the top, or was this just a letdown game by the Rams where they did not come to play and allowed the guys to shine a little bit? So I think a big test is going to be next week against the Browns. They seem to be rolling pretty well. They were the team when we looked at it last time. 3 games ago, I pegged the Browns as the team that was going to be the letdown game where the Jets might get a win. And so now with LA doing it, I think they'll probably scare the Browns a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see how that game plays out. If they can keep this intensity going, or if it was just a fluke and the Rams laid down.
Now, speaking of the Jets and their division, the New England Patriots, who have had a stranglehold on this division for over a decade, probably even longer than that, were officially eliminated from the playoffs by Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. What are your thoughts on the Patriots going forward and Bill Belichick's coaching season this year?
Yeah, you hate to see it. It's a shame. It's tough to watch. It's about time they got to enjoy some of the misery.
Yes.
It's interesting because forever it was Tom and Bill and how they were pegged together, and now seeing them both go separate ways this year, seeing how things are the ebb and the flow, where Tom isn't exactly lighting up the NFL, but he's also still playing at a pretty high level. And Bill missing the playoffs, it's going to add to that conversation. Was it Bill or was it Tom? And so, I think this year showed that, Bill, I think, relied heavily on Tom. And you got to remember, too, New England had a lot of opt-outs this season due to the Rona. And so their defense, I think, struggled. So you can't put it all on Cam. But he definitely, I saw some crazy stat that he had only thrown like 5 touchdowns this whole season. When 3 years ago he was throwing 5 touchdowns in a game. So that's not a good look for a guy.
Ugh, it feels like such a quick demise for Cam. But staying there, our Coach 'em Up question, St. Nick. Coach 'em Up presented by Honda. We stay right there with the Patriots organization. Would you bring Cam Newton back next year?
I think I would, given Bill's ability and his coaching ability. I think, if he had a full offseason, Cam, hopefully they could change things around. One of the things I saw, which was, really it got me laughing, is that while the tank was going on with the Jets, that we would jettison Sam Darnold. He would end up going to New England and, start for 15 years and win Super Bowls. While we ended up with Trevor Lawrence, and he ended up not panning out, would just be the ultimate Bill, kind of a joke to the Jets. So now not having that first pick, it's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do, but then what New England does, because there's going to be other quarterbacks on the market. Or, do they want to find somebody in the draft? It's going to be interesting seeing how Bill handles this offseason.